This is sort of disappointing, even after all this time, after all these years, the way that Xbox seems to get screwed over quite a bit, quite honest with you, and I don't understand it. It's frustrating to the extreme, and I can understand why there's a lot of Xbox fans that are annoyed by this. And of course, you see a lot of the PlayStation fans like hype up stuff like this as a reason why Xbox sucks. Xbox really sucks. And to me, that kind of stuff is funny. I don't buy into it. I think it's kind of ridiculous. I do think that there's obviously such a thing as lazy developers and things like that. So, at the end of the day, I feel like that is something that's going to probably happen here and there. I don't really think that it's going to be something that is going to be a big problem for Xbox going forward, but Lords of the Fallen developers admit that the Xbox version is going to be subpar at launch. Pretty much explains why there aren't codes available for reviewers. Lords of the Fallen 2023, which is a soft reboot of the 2014 Souls-like of the same name, reboot and developed by Hexworks and published by CI Games. The team behind the game shared a post on Twitter addressing the Day 1 patch, which stated that the PlayStation 5 and PC players would experience the game as intended at launch, while the Xbox version of the game would be buggier and potentially broken. Access to the Xbox version of Lords of the Fallen was withheld from reviewers. The eve of Lords of the Fallen 2023's launch, the team behind the game shared an update about the state of the game's release on Twitter. In the statement, the team thanks content creators for helping rapidly deploy patches and updates ahead of the launch. It then follows up the comment that PlayStation 5 and PC players could enjoy Lords of the Fallen as intended, while Xbox players, however, will be left to wait for a Day 1 patch that has not yet cleared certification. PC and PlayStation 5 players will be able to enjoy the game as intended, as the Xbox version is currently being updated, bringing it to parity with other platforms, and the patch will release over the coming days. So, the statement is an acknowledgement from the developers and publishers that the Xbox version of the game will be subpar compared to the PlayStation 5 and PC experience, though just how buggy or broken the game will be on Xbox remains to be seen. Overall, critical reception for the game has been somewhat mixed to positive, and according to Windows Central, Lords of the Fallen Review dubbed the title a must-play. However, the code provided was the PC version. The staff was informed that the Xbox version of the game would not be available for reviewers. This isn't the first time a developer or publisher has used Xbox certification process to justify a delay in parity with other consoles and PCs. It's likely not the last either. But you might be asking yourself, hey, CG, why does this keep happening? Well, it's impossible to accurately know what goes through the minds of humans behind a game launch in every scenario, but we can speculate on certain things at play. It's no secret that Xbox has a smaller install base than PlayStation and PC, leading multi-platform developers to focus their limited resources on those players first. Now, while it makes sense on paper, in reality, the practice leaves a sour taste in the mouths of Xbox fans who feels taken advantage of by developers. The Xbox version of Lords of the Fallen costs the same as the PS5 and PC versions of the game, therefore players expect to get the same experience for their money regardless of the platform. Now, for me personally, I could not care less about a Souls-like game, Lords of the Fallen, or any other game like this. What really kind of pisses me off is the fact that games like this are getting launched and they're unplayable on Xbox. So why not delay the game a week to quote-unquote polish the game or whatever, and release it at that point, or a month later, or whatever. Make sure you have your stuff ready to go so that fans have an idea of what's going on. Everything should be releasing the same. I understand that, Xbox doesn't have as big of an install base or whatever, but it's still pretty ridiculous that you're going to release a game and go, oh, well, you're really getting a subpar version of this, because guess what? It's going to be on Xbox or whatever. It's going to be the worst version, and the best version is going to be, PlayStation, PC or whatever. It's super unfortunate. And for me personally, I'm kind of left scratching my head going, this really doesn't make a whole hell of a lot of sense about why this kind of happens the way that it does. But I hope that, eventually at some point we see this kind of stuff stopping from happening. It is a little bit ridiculous, that this stuff happens, and there might be people that are looking forward to this, right? Like, to me, it does not really make sense to kind of hold off on Xbox, or the way that they've kind of done this, doing the things that they've kind of done. I've never heard of this kind of stuff happening realistically. It is super frustrating and super annoying. And, for me personally, I want to see, some kind of thing promised to fans. Like, fans are not going to be happy with this. Like, that's the thing. Why is this acceptable? Like, honestly, why is this acceptable at all? It makes zero sense as to why anybody would be okay with this. Hey, I get that Xbox doesn't have 40 million console sales, but if you've got 25 million, 30 million, whatever, you still have a viable company. And the fact that they're just kind of like, oh, well, screw you, you'll be able to play it in a few days. I find that to be just a little bit annoying. And like I said, I couldn't even care less about this game. I just want to see, things kind of be even, and this does not look very even to me. And like I said, it's very kind of unfortunate the way that it's happened. But, again, what do I know? I'm just a guy. Oh, Xbox sucks. I'm sure I'm going to get some of that in the comment section. There's always some geniuses in there. But at the end of the day, Microsoft, this is probably one of the big reasons why they buy the studios that they buy and do the things that they do. So when people are like, well, why did they buy this studio or why did they buy that studio? Well, genius, this is why they did that, right? Because at the end of the day, if you're not able to go out there and do that, and listen, you guys don't think that Sony has some backdoor deals with some of these companies or some of these issues? Now, I've never heard particularly of this company. I've never heard of them, right? So, like, there is that. Now, at the same time, Lords of the Fallen, yeah, I've heard of that game when it came out, years and years ago. I wasn't interested in it then, not interested in it now, obviously, because there's been kind of situations where, Xbox and Souls games don't really work well for me. I'm not really interested in Soulsborne or whatever the hell kind of games these things are these days. But, again, this really is a bad look. If I'm Microsoft, I'm like, what the hell are you guys doing at this particular point? Honestly, like, I get that the game's going to be on Xbox and you don't want it skipping Xbox completely because that would look worse. But this is still a whole bunch of nonsense, in my opinion, anyway. So I want to see what changes in the future. But I'm just going to be honest, I don't have a whole lot of hope because there's obviously people are going after money or whatever, and it probably doesn't make as much sense for that to be on Xbox, unfortunately. So I don't know what to say. A little bit flabbergasted over this kind of stuff. Let me know what you guys think, though. Sound off, rate, comment, subscribe. I certainly do appreciate it. Hope you all have a fantastic day. Rack 'em up. Crap Gamer out.